Hello, I'm Nukit, I'm 50 years old, and my story goes back to Germany, like the band. And I grew up in the 1980s, and we grew up with certain hits of Depeche Mode, like Question of Time, Love in Itself, Shake the Disease, Everything Counts, and most important, people are people. When you look at the lyrics today, you see that and you feel that. And it is true that the lyrics are still vivid, even in today's world. And nothing has changed actually, they are fact. And I noticed with Depeche Mode that they are so human. They represent humanity. I mean, we as human, we have sins, failures, successes. We go through ups and downs in our lives, and they are, I think, the only band who represents that in their lyrics, in their concerts, even in their voices, in especially Dave's voice, in Martin's voice, you can feel that humanity. And as I said, the lyrics, as I grew into English more and more, and as I understood more and more lyrics, I recognized that their lyrics are so different and they fit in every stage of my life. One song represents, or almost every song represents one stage in my life. Say, for example, Precious talks about my divorce, as most devotees describe it that way, and even Dave had 2 divorces, me too, so that's another thing, the coincidences with the band that I have. Also another coincidence is Daniel Barassi's birthday. I was born the same day, the same year as Daniel. So whenever I researched something about the band over the years until now, I got stunned, and it surprised me, it astonished me that I have so many common things and common points with the band. Say, for example, David likes painting, that's what I did also, and he gave up, me too. And as I said, he went through 2 divorces, something that I had. And even his ups and downs in his life are very similar to mine. So that made me very connected to the band and very close. So another thing is, okay, first the voice. Okay, why Depeche Mode? Because Martin and Dave, when they came together as a group, I mean, when they start singing together, it's different than the other bands. I mean, there are also other bands who have a lead singer, but it's not like them. And when Martin joins Dave in singing, it's a very, very beautiful sound to your ear, and you can sense that. If you have a good ear, you can go straight away and say, wow, that's it. And they are therapy to your soul. Whenever you have ups and downs in your life, you turn to them in good times and bad times. Let's say when you go through a divorce, or when you're happy in your childhood, you listen to them. And it was like something, I got hooked over eras in my life. Say in my teens, there was something I got hooked, and then in my 20s, again when I was a university student, I got hooked again with that 101 cassette. And when I heard them live, I mean, when I listened to the cassette, and I said, wow, something that I wish to do, is that I wished it very dearly at that time. And I said, something you must do is go see them live. But at that time, I was only a student. I wasn't earning any money, and time passed, and I suppressed my wishes, actually, my desires. And when I came to my late 30s and early 40s, I realized that I hadn't even fulfilled my dreams. I was living a life where I was unhappy. And I hadn't fulfilled my dreams, as I said. So something or things that I wanted to do, I always postponed. And I was always living unhappily, and it even it reflected my health, on my health. I developed a bad health, and it couldn't go on like that. So, as I said, coincidences also shaped the connection to Depeche Mode. I remember clearly the date, the 17th of May 2013, was going to be a concert in Istanbul. And when as I said, from time to time I went, I looked at the internet, etc., and I realized that Depeche Mode were coming again on tour, and I said, that's the chance. You always wanted to see them. So it was the same day that my ex-husband had a reunion, and I knew that he would never take me to his reunions. So I thought I could go to Istanbul and secretly I bought 3 tickets, so 2 for my friends and 1 for myself. So whenever I hear Policy of Truth, the lyrics remind me of that event. So there's guilt, as if you are doing something sinful. But I had to do it, because at that time I was living an unhappy life. I had broken up with my dad, and even I wasn't seeing any friends. So I was living a very isolated life, and I had lack of self-confidence, which I regained with Depeche Mode. I became myself again. They gave me courage. They give me courage. It's not only that. I began to live myself again. Something like a rebirth. And in a way, I can say they saved my life. So, I want to go back to the 90s again, when I heard Enjoy the Silence. I remember recording it to my cassette recorder and playing it again and again, again and again, again and again. I mean, maybe it was the most listened song in my life, Enjoy the Silence. The most impact, of course, had the voice of Dave. It was Dave's voice. And I can say I fell in love with that voice. And from time to time, I turned back to the band. So you live your life, you go through certain stages, and then they show up again. Dave shows up again with his solo projects or with another album of Depeche Mode, and you get hooked again. And very passionately you relive again. And I always describe them like a tsunami wave. They are like a tsunami wave for me, and they leave an impact. They have an impact, a great impact in my life. So in the year, so it was the early 2000s, and I was with my friend, and we were watching MTV, and I had almost forgotten about the band. So over the years, because I had started another job at university, and we were just watching, and suddenly Precious comes on MTV, and so mature. I was taken away by Dave and the song, and I said to my friend, "That's Dave. That's Dave. That's Depeche Mode." I couldn't believe it to see them again, but this time they were only three, so Alan had left. So probably that was a phase where I hadn't followed them for a period of time. So, but I remember how happy I got and how surprised it felt. I mean, it made me feel so emotional, and that's what I think about the band. They leave me with emotions. That's what they do, especially Dave. So, okay. Precious is my mobile phone melody, by the way. So that's the early 2000s. And okay, back to my divorce. So, as I said, I had lost my confidence, and my self-respect and everything. I had given up social contacts. I was just living like a vegetable. And I even thought there's no way out. There's no way out. So Depeche Mode gave me the courage to try again. And to make my dreams come true, going to the concert, to Istanbul, and see my childhood friend. So that date is another coincidence. It's a turning point in my life, the 17th of May, something I never forget. And I remember writing a message to Dave. It was the 9th of May. Wishing him happy birthday, and that I was going to see him in Istanbul. And when I learned that they weren't, they had postponed and they had cancelled they had cancelled the concert, I got very, very upset, very, very down. And my friend said, "Hey, Nukit, why don't you see them in Germany? I mean, you can go to Germany." So by that time I had gotten a divorce. It was very difficult for me because I had bought a house, and I was going through certain difficulties in my life. So, but I really wanted to see them. That was the only chance for me to realize how important I was actually, to give importance to myself. That's what I seldom did over the years. So I sold my gold. I sold all my jewelry I had just to have a good trip to Germany, and I saw them first in Mannheim. I couldn't believe that I was really there. It was like something unreal to see Dave on stage there. And later, later, I saw them again in Hanover 4 years later. No, 3 years later. What am I saying? And to sum up, if there wasn't Dave, if there wasn't Martin, if there wasn't any member of the band right now, I wouldn't be what I am today. I would have had a very different life, and I would probably have ended up in a very different place, probably, and I would have led a very different life. So, last and most important thing is that you always think, or I think, that something very unreachable, I have to follow it, and whether it's love or whether it's passion, you go after, and you think it's out of reach. You cannot touch it, you cannot reach it. But I realized when you start connecting to the band, they answer, or something comes back to you, and this is success for me. Something that I hadn't had, something that I hadn't experienced in my former life. I mean, what considers marriage, say for example, having children, or leading a successful life in that respect. So turning to Depeche Mode and reaching out for them made me realize that they answer. Whether it's directly or indirectly, you are something special to them. And they also made me start taking up my hobbies again, like drawing, painting. I started painting t-shirts, and I joined the takeover. I started singing again, something that I hadn't done for years, and I made up lots of friends from all over the world, thanks to Depeche Mode. And we have a certain special bond to the fans, as I say. Yes. Thank you very much.